transformation. Hey, we got cut off on last one, so this is the continued episode, part 2. So we're going to go over something that's really cool, and that is, what is your most important, number one, relationship? What do you think that is? Now, I know what people are thinking. They're thinking it's God. And that's true. But see, we already have an innate relationship. We're spiritual beings first. Really, the most important relationship is a relationship with yourself. Why? Because if we're all clouded, we get stuck in our conditions, we have all this noise in our head, right? We're not following our intuition. We're already connected with God, but we may not be conscious of it. If we don't have conscious connection, then that can completely get in our way of our belief systems. If all behavior is belief, then we're living according to our belief systems. We could believe in God, we could believe in the universe, we could believe in a greater power, but how are we using that in our life, and how are we directing it? So there's 3 things that we need to look at. But before we get into that, I know a person, lots of people all over the world listen to these Tuesday morning transformations, and I heard a story of this woman, 29 years old, everything's going great in her life, she's getting married, but she knows, I'm not supposed to marry this person. There's all these signs in her life telling her, don't do it, right? Don't do it. How many times is our will, we push our will over where we're supposed to be going in our soul path? Remember a couple weeks ago, here's your soul path, but the further off we get to the path, from the path, the bigger the pain, the bigger the incident. And now, as she's approaching the wedding, it's like, oh my God, all these people are coming, I don't want to do this, I don't want to, inconvenience everybody. So what does she do? At the closer the wedding gets, wham! She gets T-boned in an accident, breaks 36 bones, almost dies. The doctor tells her parents she's not even going to live. And miraculously, they put her back together and she pulls through. Of course, she didn't get married. Of course, the things don't happen. But are we listening? Are we listening to the direction of our life? It's the relationship with ourself that brings these things in our life. It's not what's going on outside of you that matters. It's what's going on inside of you that matters, that creates things in our life. So what are those 3 things that we can determine the relationship with ourselves? Number 1 is our internal language. We have incessant noise in our head. We have all these thoughts, and we have all this stress. And a lot of times, the incessant internal language leads us into emotional overwhelm. We wonder why we're tired. We wonder why we're stressed. It's not because of things outside of us. It's all the stuff outside of us that's going through our head all the time. You know why it's going through our head? Because we're not doing what we know we should do. What causes emotional overwhelm are people shoulding all over themselves. But I should do this and I don't do it. And I should do that and I should do that. A bunch of shoulds and not enough musts creates emotional overwhelm. So what's it do? It creates all this turmoil, creates stress, and then, hey, let's go real basic here. The law of attraction. I have 2 magnets here. Right? Here's the magnets. So if this is our vision and this is our internal language, when they don't match, oh my God, look at this repelling force. We're literally repelling our vision away from us. But when we turn our shoulds into musts, we change our mind, we change our perspective, we change our mind. Whoa, look at that. Man, see, that's pretty strong. You can't avoid it. But here we are, internal language, stress, overwhelm. I'm not doing the things I should. I'm not following God. I'm all stressed. Hey, maybe this, maybe I should do that. There's no must, but you change your mind. Oh my, you can't avoid it. You can't avoid your soul purpose. You can't avoid. Are you guys getting this? I'm going to do it one more time. Stress, overwhelm, internal language. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get what you're thinking about. Did you ever hear the mantra, thoughts turn into things? Right out of the DVD, The Secret, right? So what do I want to do? I want to match my internal language with my vision. Boom! Comes right together like that. So what's that internal language? What's that incessant internal conversation you're having? Well, then do something to get rid of. All you gotta do is one thing. If you just do one thing a day, man, for every day, 365 days, you got life-changing stuff. This stuff isn't hard. One thing. That's all you gotta do is one thing. Guess what? You feel better about yourself. Calms the noise, like taking a cool shower. What's the second thing? Second thing is, what story are you telling? Because stuff is going to happen. That partner walks out, somebody cheats, you're under financial stress, you get fired, There's so many things. There was some type of violation, physical, emotional, sexual. And then the thing is God knows. The universe is watching. It's not about doing things right. It's about doing the right thing. It's about learning how to love yourself. Calm that internal language. Appreciate yourself. And it also says what the devil takes away, and it may not be the devil, we'll just say what the world takes away. That employee that stole hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? That lawsuit that you had to deal with. Whatever the world takes away, see, we think because our glass is half full, man, that's a great attitude. Everybody says, I have a half full perspective. Well, that's better than half empty. I guess if you're going halfway, that's better. My question is, why is it half full? Because God says whatever the world takes away, He's going to replace 7 times. I want to know, why are we focused on a glass when God says, you're my child, you can have a bucket. Which one do you want? Right? Half full, who cares? Who cares about half full? How about a bucket? I like buckets. Do you guys like buckets? Maybe that's why they say bucket list. Did you ever think about that? Because God doesn't give you in glasses, He gives you in buckets. Maybe that's why we have bucket lists. Because it's stuff that's so outrageous that we have an exceptional life. Why don't we start having our bucket rather than our glass? Not really going to drink out of this right now. I might dunk my head in it later. But that's it. So what story are you telling? Does your story say, is it cling to the violation, or does it cling to the potential? Does it cling to the condition, or does it cling to who you are as a spiritual being? Does it say the world is unfair, or does it say God is bigger? What's your belief system? If all behavior is belief, and if our internal language is the first thing, then what story are we telling, and what belief system can we adopt, right? So are your belief systems getting what you want? So if we can change our belief system, then we can start having buckets rather than glasses. How cool is that? What's the third thing? How do you talk about other people? So how do we evaluate the relationship with ourselves? Since everything emanates from us, God emanates from us, then what's the relationship with ourselves? Are we conscious of that? So we have internal language. What story are we telling you? Those two relate. And how do we look at other people? Because how do we talk about other people, not to other people, because hopefully you're somewhat respectful and polite, right? But how do you talk about other people, even to yourself or to other people? Now in Matthew, I think it's 7:2. Where is it? Pretty sure. Matthew 7:2, check it out. Yep. For the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. So what's that mean? See, here's the thing. It's not that if I judge you, I'm going to be judged. That's not it. Whatever you give is what you experience when you give it. So when you give criticism, you're experiencing criticism. See, it's not that low level. It's not that, hey, if I criticize you, you're going to criticize me back. No, because you can criticize someone and hurt their feelings, and they may go away depressed or sad or cry or do whatever, or many don't even care, right? So when you learn to love yourself, you don't care what other people say. You just observe their consciousness. But when you do that, when you criticize, what are you experiencing? You're experiencing criticism. See, the higher spiritual purpose of when you judge, you will be judged, isn't from other people. It's that you're experiencing that and you're creating your own pain. So when we criticize others, we create our own pain. When we talk about a condition, we wire that into our body and we create our own pain. So many habits we have create our own pain. And that's the relationship with yourself. See, when you truly love yourself, that's why in the healed system, first is honor God within yourself. Second is exercise love. So once we know I am a spiritual being, then I act in loving ways. Then I love humanity. Then I see the innate in God in another person, that regardless of what they look like or what they say, I respect their journey and their consciousness along their path. Then it doesn't feel good when you realize that you experience what you give. It doesn't feel good to criticize. It doesn't feel good in your body. And then all of a sudden, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. That's really not the person that I want to act like. And so then you change. So if we're going to change our life, you want total power over your life, because the only thing we can do is master ourselves. That's our purpose. I get a reference point of divinity inside us, and then we look at the relationship with ourselves, because everything in life, in the conditions, is all about the relationship with ourselves. So let's look at our internal language. Let's look at what story we're telling, and let's look at how we view others. And when you do all of those in a loving way, then not only do you magnetize your soul purpose to you, boom, so fast, but now we can live with buckets of abundance rather than glasses that are half full. Okay, gang. Hey, let's have a great week. Let's look at those 3 things. Let's choose differently, and let's live a better life with our divinity, our God self with a capital S, moving through us and giving that to other people. Thanks. Love you. Hey, comment, share, take this around. There's millions of people around the world. We have people all over the world. Hey, when you comment, tell us where you're from, and you're going to see when you look at the comments, there's people from all over the world. So thank you, and please share this. Love you. See you next week.